one ever thought that Johnny Cash was going to shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die, or Bob Marley shot a sheriff but spared a deputy. But that's exactly what prosecutors are trying to convince juries about across the...
When jurors can't find common ground, even the friendliest conversations behind closed doors don't move the needle toward a unanimous verdict. That's exactly where things stood for YNW Melly, locked away for 6 long years, trapped in a cell as the legal battle dragged on endlessly. The public started to feel like the decision would never come. But suddenly, out of nowhere, the verdict dropped, leaving everyone stunned. Rumors quickly spread that the delay wasn't mere coincidence or misfortune, but a deliberate stall tactic designed to set the stage for the death penalty. This came especially on the heels of Florida slipping in some subtle yet game-changing legal tweaks, shaking up the entire courtroom landscape. In this breakdown, we dive deep into the strategy behind the scenes, the legal loopholes that the prosecution relied on, the tense courtroom moments that had everyone on edge, and YNW Melly's raw, unfiltered reaction when the final judgment hit like a bombshell. Let's break it down. This case has been mired in delays for years, leaving the streets tense and the public restless, waiting for closure that never seemed to come. On paper, the prosecution's case looked solid, like they had Melly in the palm of their hand. Yet, the wheels of justice crawled at a glacial pace. Meanwhile, Melly's defense team battled fiercely, pushing for bond, arguing for his release. But the district attorney wasn't having it, countering that the charges were too serious to risk, warning that Melly could disappear if given the chance. The tug-of-war between the legal teams kept the case suspended in limbo, fueling frustration on all sides. The judge showed no leniency, firmly siding with the prosecution, which meant Melly remained confined, caught in a relentless cycle of uncertainty and mounting stress. Why the endless delay? The case itself was a tangled web from the start, layers upon layers of evidence demanding painstaking scrutiny. Then, the pandemic threw a wrench into court systems nationwide, causing postponements and gridlocks. People began to question the fairness of keeping someone locked away without a trial for so long. The legal community was waiting on new laws to pass, fueling speculation that the slow march to trial was deliberate. Opinions split. Some demanded free Melly, while others argued the gravity of the charges made any leniency impossible. The whole situation echoed the chaotic saga of Tamar TK Trayvon McIntyre, a cautionary tale of a young artist's dramatic downfall. In July 2016, TK was arrested and charged with capital murder following a deadly home invasion, a case that sent shockwaves through the music scene. Since he was underage, the court initially allowed him house arrest pending trial, but TK wasn't. About to sit quietly, he cut off his ankle monitor in March 2017 and vanished, igniting a nationwide manhunt. Instead of laying low, TK flaunted his fugitive status, dropping tracks like The Race that boasted about his life on the run and even filmed a music video next to his own wanted poster. His flight from justice culminated in another violent incident in April 2017, where TK was allegedly involved in a robbery that left a man dead. This added another capital murder charge to his already severe legal troubles. Despite the chaos, TK's music kept gaining attention, his rebellious anthem forcing the public to reckon with the harsh realities behind his fame. But his run ended in June 2017 when U.S. Marshals captured him in New Jersey. By July 2019, TK was convicted of murder and multiple aggravated robberies, sentenced to 55 years, with further charges pending that could mean life without parole, or even the death penalty. Prosecutors in Melly's case are determined to avoid a repeat of the TK saga, insisting that releasing him could lead to more chaos. His prolonged pretrial detention has sparked a fierce debate about justice and fairness, especially when high-profile names are involved. The delay has taken a brutal toll on Melly's mental health and career, canceled tours, stalled projects, and lost opportunities piling up while fans rally online with hashtags and petitions demanding a fair shot at trial. Critics, however, emphasize the severity of the charges and public safety concerns, arguing that letting Melly out, even temporarily, could be too risky. This tension has turned Melly's case into a flashpoint for broader conversations about bail reform, pretrial incarceration conditions, and the criminal justice system's treatment of celebrities versus ordinary defendants. Judges, wary of the risks, often err on the side of caution in violent cases, fearing flight risks, witness tampering, or evidence interference. In the end, Melly's saga highlights the fragile balance between an accused individual's rights and the community's safety. As his legal battle drags on, the spotlight remains on the cracks in the system, forcing a reckoning on how justice is administered in high-stakes, high-profile cases. Holding Melly behind bars isn't just about keeping the streets safe. It's a tactical move in the chess game of the courtroom. Denying bond is a power play for the prosecution, turning time into pressure, hoping Melly cracks, takes a plea deal, or leaks information rather than risk a jury trial. This strategy gives the prosecution control before the trial even begins. But here's the catch. Jail time before trial makes it much tougher for Melly to mount an effective defense. Being locked up drains his time, limits his access to legal resources, and cuts down crucial face-to-face meetings with his attorneys. That kind of isolation can push defendants to rush into court just to escape the suffocating pressure, even if that's not the smartest move. In cases like this, public perception is more than just background noise. It influences how judges act. They know every decision is under the microscope, ready to spark headlines and social media firestorms. Granting bond for someone charged this seriously could ignite outrage, accusations that the system is soft on crime. But it's a delicate balancing act. Denying bond might seem tough on crime, but critics argue it's unfair to hold someone in jail before a verdict. Is it justice or punishment? The answer depends on who you ask. Now, switch gears about 1,500 miles west to California, where Suge Knight is playing by a different set of rules. Despite facing serious charges himself, Suge's team, led by attorney Thomas Mazzero, made a strong case for bond. They argued his health issues, like dangerous blood clots, weren't being managed behind bars, and painted him as a man rooted in the community with no intention to flee. They also highlighted the financial damage jail was causing, saying he needed to be free to handle his business and mount a proper defense. But the prosecution pushed back hard. Suge's lengthy history of violent offenses, including assaults and robberies, painted a very different picture. They argued he was a threat to public safety and had a pattern of interfering with witnesses and manipulating the system. With too much power and a sketchy past, the state insisted he couldn't be trusted outside jail walls. The judge responded with a jaw-dropping $25 million bond, one of the highest ever set in California. While technically free on bond, the price was a barrier meant to keep him locked up. After legal battles, it was lowered to $10 million, but still out of reach. Suge remained behind bars, fighting his case from inside. Back to Melly. Whether you believe the charges or think the system is stalling, the truth is this case isn't moving fast. The feds seem to be playing a strategic game while the rest of us are stuck waiting. At his first trial, the prosecution dropped what they called digital receipts, an Instagram conversation from 2018 where Melly allegedly admitted, "I did that, sheesh." His lawyer fired back, pointing out Melly's usual texting style was that spelled out, not abbreviated, trying to sow doubt. The prosecution wasn't having it. They showed evidence Melly knew when to spell properly, even in song lyrics, so that text carried weight. They argued the shootings weren't a random drive-by. Surveillance showed Melly and his crew getting into a Jeep before the murders, which was found hours later with 2 victims inside, both killed by close-range gunfire. Ballistics pointed to shots fired from inside the vehicle, close to Melly's seat. Yet no gun was found, and Melly had no gunpowder residue. The scene was too precise, too tight, suggesting an inside job. Then came the gang expert testimony. Danny Polo painted Melly as deeply connected to the G-Shine Bloods, not just name-dropping in lyrics, but fluent in their codes and culture. The state presented photos, texts, and all sorts of evidence to tie the murders to gang activity, even if the direct link was unclear. Phone records added to the puzzle. FBI agent Brendan Collins traced Melly's and co-defendant Cortland Henry's movements near the crime scene, but couldn't place them together at every moment. That gap gave the defense some breathing room. A detective noted Melly's phone had location services off. Convenient or suspicious? Surveillance caught Melly's movements after the shootings, including rapper Fredo Bang picking him up, helping. The prosecution mapped the timeline. Forensic tests found no Melly DNA on key items inside the Jeep, but did detect possible DNA on the rear passenger door handle, near where shots were fired. Now, the latest twist. Florida prosecutors want to introduce Melly's music into the retrial. According to reports, they plan to use 55 songs, 18 audio clips, 14 YouTube videos, and 4 album covers as evidence. This includes Murder on My Mind, one of his most notorious tracks. The state argues these lyrics reveal his mindset and potentially show motive. Using rap lyrics in court isn't new, but remains highly controversial. While lyrics alone can't convict, they influence jurors who may start seeing the artist as the accused, fueling racial and cultural biases. This tactic was famously spotlighted in the YSL RICO case, where prosecutors used Young Thug's lyrics to tie him to alleged criminal acts. The line between artistic expression and criminal evidence keeps getting blurrier, especially for hip-hop artists, who face disproportionate legal scrutiny. Melly's case has become part of that ongoing conversation, how the justice system navigates fame, art, and alleged crime under the unforgiving spotlight. This wasn't just a minor charge. It was a massive 88-page grand jury indictment laying out 182 separate acts. And it didn't stop at typical criminal allegations. Some of these acts included things as seemingly trivial as wearing clothing and jewelry sporting slime logos. That's how aggressively the prosecution is trying to connect the dots. The charges themselves were heavy hitters: murder, attempted robbery, aggravated assault with deadly weapons, you name it. Georgia prosecutors painted a picture of 28 accused. Individuals enmeshed in a sprawling web of racketeering, drug trafficking, and violent crimes, all driven by the pursuit of clout, cash, and influence. The RICO statute is unforgiving. If they can prove you're part of an ongoing pattern of criminal behavior, everyone in the network can be held accountable for the whole mess. Just like in Melly's case, the prosecution pulled rap lyrics into the spotlight. They dug up tracks from Grammy-nominated artists, even using a verse from the late Juice WRLD as part of their ammunition. Out of the 28 charged, 6, including Young Thug himself, are slated to face trial. The courtroom drama kicked off on November 27th in Atlanta and is expected to stretch on for much of the year. But this is far from the first time music's been weaponized in courtrooms. Back in 2012, a Louisiana judge allowed rap lyrics to be introduced as evidence in the 1807 Boogie murder trial. When Bobby Shmurda faced gang charges in 2014, every line of his hit Hot Namaitse was scrutinized, even if not officially entered, as evidence. Shmurda himself told Vulture, "I'm guilty for where I live. I was never part of no gang." Critics argue this practice isn't just unfair, it's downright dangerous. When Maryland's highest court ruled in 2020 that lyrics could be used as evidence in murder trials, veteran attorney Dina Leapsalt told Variety it was a blatant example of racial bias and a frightening precedent. Now, artists like Jay-Z are fighting back, not just through music, but in the legal arena. They're championing New York's Senate Bill S-527, also known as the Rap Music on Trial Bill. This groundbreaking legislation aims to protect rap lyrics as pure artistic expression, not criminal confession. It calls out prosecutors for twisting bars into courtroom evidence, turning trials into performances where rappers are judged not on facts, but on their verses. The bill argues this approach suppresses provocative, raw speech and undermines the fundamental principle that people should be judged by their actions, not their art. What we're seeing isn't justice. It's prejudice cloaked in a new disguise. After passing committee in January, the bill is now headed for full Senate and Assembly votes, a major push led by State Senator Brad Hoylman. Jay-Z is front and center in this fight, lending his name and influence to the cause. His attorney, Alex Spiro, told Rolling Stone this battle is personal for Mr. Carter and the many artists backing the bill. Spiro co-authored a letter supporting the legislation with University of Richmond professor Eric Nielsen, co-author of Rap on Trial, a book that exposes how courts manipulate lyrics against rappers. Nielsen worked alongside University of Georgia law professor Andrea Dennis, another key voice in this fight. Jay-Z and Spiro have previously pushed for reforms in racial diversity and arbitration panels, sparking national change. Now they hope this bill will set a similar precedent. If passed, New York's law could inspire other states to follow suit, signaling a seismic shift in how courts treat artists, especially in hip-hop. They're not alone. Fat Joe spoke to Rolling Stone in 2022, emphasizing that rap lyrics are creative expression, just like any other music genre. He urged lawmakers and New York's governor to pass the bill, protect artists' rights, and do what's right. But this fight isn't just about laws, it's deeply personal. Before his tragic death in 2021, rapper Draco Rosa shared how his own music was used against him. In 2016, he faced murder charges tied to a 24-year-old's death. Though he was eventually acquitted, Draco spent 3 years in jail, with prosecutors pointing to his track Flex Freestyle as evidence of a supposed plan to target another rapper who wasn't even at the scene. "They used my lyrics against me," Draco said. "I never thought they could do that. I'd heard it happened, but the way they twisted my words was insane." His ordeal exposed how dangerously blurred the lines between art and crime can become. Senator Jamal Bailey, a leading advocate for the new bill, said it will require prosecutors to prove a real connection between lyrics and crime, no more relying on rap bars alone to build a case. "Assuming guilt based on music or genre, that's not justice," Bailey said. "It's just systemic racism wrapped up in another form. It's why hip-hop keeps getting criminalized." In 2018, the culture took another blow. YNW Melly's name became tied to tragedy when two of his closest friends, Anthony YNW Sackchaser, Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr., were shot dead. The headlines were loud, but behind the news were real people. Juvie wasn't just a rapper. He was a young talent with dreams beyond violence. Friends described him as having a soft heart, wanting to break the cycle through music. Sackchaser was known for his infectious energy and a big smile, but also for his ambition. He wasn't just about the grind. He had plans to uplift young artists in their community. Both had bright futures that were brutally cut short, leaving families shattered by grief, confusion, and rage. Their loss left a wound in their neighborhood that still hasn't healed. At first, Melly said it was a drive-by shooting, that his friends were innocent victims caught in random violence. The story spread fast, but as detectives peeled back layers, inconsistencies emerged. The timeline, forensic evidence, and Melly's behavior after the shooting all raised questions. Suddenly, Melly was no longer seen as a survivor. He became the prime suspect. Authorities accused him of orchestrating the murders alongside fellow YNW affiliate Kentrell Kendrick Deshaun Galden, charging him with 2 counts of first-degree murder. For Melly, it marked the beginning of a legal battle that would scrutinize every detail of his life, his art, and his relationships, under the unforgiving spotlight of the public eye. On the night of October 26, 2018, in South Florida, everything took a dark turn. YNW Melly and his crew were cruising through the city when, according to law enforcement, gunfire erupted from inside their vehicle. The tragedy left 2 of his closest associates, YNW Juvie and YNW Sackchaser, fatally wounded. What set off the violence remains unclear, but whispers on the streets hinted at a falling out over a lucrative brand deal gone sideways. Fame and fortune often come with a shadow, and some suggest Melly found himself caught in that very trap. The fast-paced lifestyle can alter people, and for Melly, it may have turned his world upside down. One of the most striking pieces of evidence emerged from ballistics reports. The bullets recovered from the bodies of Sackchaser, 21, and Juvie, 26, matched a gun allegedly linked to Melly himself. That revelation shocked many, turning rumor into hard suspicion. Forensic analysis confirmed what the police feared. The shots were fired from inside the vehicle, placing suspicion squarely on someone within the car. Melly's name quickly became the focal point. Witnesses stepped forward, claiming they saw Melly armed that night and heard him issue threats against members of his own crew. These allegations only intensified the already blazing media firestorm. Yet, Melly's defense team fought back vigorously, arguing that the evidence was purely circumstantial, no direct proof, no clear motive. They maintained Melly cared deeply for his friends, and that the prosecution was piecing together a narrative out of fragments and assumptions, stretching facts to fit their story. But the state didn't relent. Additional evidence surfaced, including phone records showing Melly made calls to contacts near the crime scene just before the shooting. This timeline tightened the connection, adding more pressure to the case. So how did a young artist with so much promise find himself embroiled in such serious charges? Let's take a step back. Jamel Maurice Demons, known professionally as YNW Melly, was born May 1, 1999, in the tough neighborhood of Gifford, South Florida. Music was embedded in his spirit from an early age. Influenced by icons like Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, Melly dreamed of stages, lights, and chart-topping hits. But alongside his passion for music came a troubling fascination. In his own words, shared in interviews and his official documentary, Melly revealed he discovered a revolver hidden beneath his uncle's couch while still in 4th grade. That day, he became obsessed, carrying the weapon with him everywhere, even to school. This early relationship with firearms shaped his identity, eventually weaving into his lyrics, his image, and regrettably, his real-life story. Before the headlines and handcuffs, Melly, alongside YNW Juvie and Cortland, YNW Bortland Henry, created the YNW Collective, Young Nano World, or Young New Wave. This tight-knit group was forged from talent, ambition, and a shared desire to escape hardship. Melly wasn't just another rapper from Florida. His sound and hustle struck a unique chord, blending raw emotion with commercial appeal that opened doors. Just a month before YNW Melly's arrest in February 2019, his music career was rapidly accelerating, signaling a pivotal moment in his life and artistry. His breakout mixtape, We All Shine, wasn't just another release. It was a defining statement that showcased the depth, versatility, and raw emotion Melly poured into his craft. This project marked a clear turning point for the young rapper, as it caught the attention of fans, critics, and industry heavyweights alike. One of the standout moments from We All Shine was undoubtedly his collaboration with Kanye West on the track Mixed Personalities. This song didn't just make waves, it quickly went viral, thrusting Melly into a spotlight he hadn't fully experienced before. Teaming up with Kanye, one of hip-hop's most influential figures, gave Melly a stamp of approval that elevated his credibility overnight. The track's unique blend of melodic hooks, emotive lyrics, and Kanye's signature style meshed perfectly with Melly's voice, creating a sonic experience that resonated with a wide audience. What made Melly's rise so captivating was his uncanny ability to take complex, often painful emotions and translate them into memorable melodies. His vocal delivery was distinctive, simultaneously raw and melodic, vulnerable yet powerful. This ability to blend storytelling with catchy rhythms made his music relatable on a deeply personal level, connecting with listeners who saw parts of their own struggles and hopes reflected in his words. Beyond the explosive success of Mixed Personalities, YNW Melly's solo work truly cemented his place in the music world, capturing the hearts of a growing fan base hungry for something real and raw. Tracks like Straight Heat quickly became anthems for listeners, standing out not just for their catchy melodies, but for the emotional depth woven into the lyrics. The song's music video racked up millions of views across YouTube and social media platforms, proving that Melly's appeal wasn't just limited to audio. It was a full sensory experience that combined sound, visuals, and storytelling. Straight Heat video was more than just a promotional tool. It was a vivid expression of Melly's persona and artistic vision. The visuals perfectly mirrored the song's intense, gritty mood, painting a picture of the struggle and resilience that defined much of Melly's life and music. Whether through stark imagery of his environment or intimate moments that revealed vulnerability, the video showcased Melly's charisma and helped listeners connect to him on a deeper level. It was clear that Melly wasn't content to just drop tracks. He wanted to create an entire narrative universe around his music. This approach to storytelling helped Melly build a distinctive identity in an industry flooded with talent. His style was a compelling fusion of street grit and emotional openness, a combination that resonated with many fans who saw themselves reflected in his struggles and hopes. While some artists focus solely on bravado or luxury, Melly mixed that, with moments of raw honesty, addressing pain, betrayal, and inner conflict. This vulnerability didn't weaken his image. Instead, it made him relatable and real, carving out a niche where he could stand apart. Moreover, Melly's ability to blend melodic hooks with rap verses gave him a versatile edge. His voice could shift seamlessly between singing and rapping, infusing tracks with a haunting quality that lingered long after the song ended. This duality allowed him to explore complex emotions and create songs that felt like confessions, inviting listeners into his world. In a genre often criticized for its one-dimensional portrayal of masculinity, Melly's music broke the mold by embracing sensitivity without losing its edge. Social media played a crucial role in amplifying Melly's reach. Platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok became conduits for fans to share his music and spread his story, turning Straight Heat and other singles into viral sensations. His engagement with fans, whether through behind-the-scenes clips, candid moments, or interactive posts, helped him build a loyal community that felt personally invested in his journey. This digital presence was more than marketing. It was an extension of his artistry, allowing him to shape how people perceived him beyond just the music. In essence, YNW Melly's solo tracks like Straight Heat showcased the full spectrum of his talent, not just as a rapper or singer, but as a storyteller and cultural figure. Through a potent mix of hard-hitting beats, emotional vulnerability, and compelling visuals, he carved out a space where authenticity reigned. His music was a mirror to his life's complexities, drawing fans into a world that was as captivating as it was real. This blend of artistry and authenticity set Melly apart in the crowded rap landscape, hinting at a legacy that would endure despite the challenges he faced offstage. We All Shine wasn't just another mixtape dropped into the crowded hip-hop scene. It was the crystallization of YNW Melly's dreams, struggles, and raw ambition. This project served as a deeply personal statement, a sonic diary chronicling his rise from the gritty streets of Gifford, South Florida, to the brink of stardom. Every track carried layers of Melly's experiences, touching on pain, hope, survival, and the complex emotions that come with chasing a better life in the face of adversity. The mixtape became a beacon for many who related to his journey, shining a light on the resilience needed to break free from a challenging environment. What made We All Shine particularly compelling was how it balanced vulnerability with street-savvy toughness, reflecting the duality of Melly's own persona. The sound was polished yet authentic, blending melodic flows with hard-hitting lyrics that felt both introspective and unapologetically real. Listeners weren't just hearing music. They were witnessing Melly's personal evolution unfold track by track. This depth helped elevate the mixtape beyond just local buzz, signaling that Melly was ready to make waves on a national, even global scale. As the project gained traction, industry insiders began paying close attention. The buzz wasn't just among fans. Executives, producers, and fellow artists started recognizing Melly as a serious talent with the potential to leave a lasting impact on hip-hop. His unique voice, emotional honesty, and genre-blending style set him apart from many of his contemporaries. The mixtape opened doors that had previously been closed, helping him forge important connections in the music world. During this pivotal phase of his career, one of the most impactful alliances YNW Melly forged was with none other than Young Thug, an artist who had already cemented his status as a heavyweight in the rap industry. Young Thug's innovative style and mainstream success made him not just a collaborator, but a powerful mentor figure whose influence helped shape the trajectories of many rising stars. For Melly, linking up with Thug was more than just a musical partnership. It was a strategic move that significantly elevated his standing in the hip-hop community. Collaborations with Young Thug opened doors that might have otherwise remained closed. Thug's fanbase was vast and loyal, spanning multiple demographics and global regions, which meant that Melly's music instantly reached a much broader audience. This exposure was crucial for Melly, allowing him to showcase his unique voice and emotional depth to listeners who might not have encountered his music otherwise. More importantly, working alongside Thug demonstrated that Melly could confidently match the artistry and creativity of well-established figures, dispelling any doubts about his staying power. These joint projects weren't just about guest verses or catchy hooks. They were moments that highlighted Melly's versatility and ability to navigate complex flows and moods. The chemistry between the two artists added a new layer to Melly's sound, blending Young Thug's eccentric flair with Melly's raw, melodic emotion. This synergy resonated deeply with fans and critics alike, further cementing Melly's reputation as an artist to watch. Ultimately, the collaboration with Young Thug acted as a critical bridge, helping Melly transition from a promising up-and-comer to a respected name within mainstream hip-hop. It was a clear sign that Melly wasn't merely a flash in the pan, but a rising star ready to carve out his own lasting legacy. The momentum generated by We All Shine went beyond just music sales and streams. It created a ripple effect in the MY culture surrounding Melly. His sound, style, and story began resonating with a broader demographic, drawing in fans who appreciated the emotional depth and authenticity in his music. The growing buzz was palpable, with critics and fans alike speculating that Melly was not just another fleeting rapper, but someone with the ingredients to sustain and evolve his career over time. In essence, We All Shine captured a pivotal moment in YNW Melly's life, a turning point where his talent, vision, and ambition converged. It announced to the world that Melly was ready to step out of the shadows of his past and shine on a much bigger stage. The mixtape wasn't just a collection of songs, it was a declaration that Melly was here to stay, poised to become one of hip-hop's most influential voices in the years to come. In the weeks leading up to his arrest, the energy around Melly's career was electric. Fans eagerly anticipated new releases, and his streams and social media following soared. He was a rising star, embodying the dreams of many young artists who see music as a pathway to a better life. However, this rapid ascent would soon be overshadowed by the legal challenges that followed, turning what looked like a promising future into a complicated, uncertain chapter. Despite the turmoil that would soon engulf him, the legacy of We All Shine and his viral collaborations remains a testament to YNW Melly's artistic potential and the powerful connection he forged with listeners during his breakthrough moment. His momentum didn't stop there. Collaborations with heavyweight artists like Young Thug showcased Melly's ability to hold his own among rap's elite, further expanding his influence beyond Florida. Yet, the song that cemented Melly's place in hip-hop lore was Murder on My Mind, released in March 2017. The haunting, emotional track slowly gained traction until it exploded into viral sensation. Dark, raw, and deeply personal, its confessional tone felt like a window into Melly's soul. The song went multi-platinum, defining his artistic voice, melodic, mysterious, and soaked in pain. Regardless of the outcome of his legal battle, Melly's impact on music is undeniable. His story, a mix of talent, tragedy, and controversy, remains one of modern rap's most compelling and heartbreaking narratives. If you found this story gripping, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives into hip-hop's wildest tales, and share your thoughts below. What's your take? Will Melly walk free, or is this the end of the road? Either way, this saga is far from over. Catch you next time.